All right. Today on the show, we have a really fun guest. This is Kyle Smith. You might know him as Tasty Shreds on social media. You guys, this guy went from zero to now over 3 million followers on social media, all while monetizing the journey. Him and his wife are actually in Rainmakers way back in 2020. And I remember having a conversation with his wife. They're like, hey, we're ready to sell our Amazon brand because my husband is crushing it with this ebook. And so I want to talk about this today, digital product creation, ebooks, selling information, right? But also social media, because you've really leveraged social media to build an audience and to monetize and ultimately to replace your job, which was so cool. So I want to go into the whole story, but welcome to the show, Kyle. Excited to have you.
All right. Hey, thank you so much for having me. OG Rainmaker. Let's go.
That's right, man. It's so fun. I know we connected through, I think our realtor was a mutual friend, and he was like, you guys should check out Rainmakers. And but I want to kind of, Rainmakers aside, I want to kind of get into like how you got started on this journey. So Tasty Shreds, let me see if I can give a good like synopsis of it because I started to follow it. You're dominating my algorithm now. And basically, Kyle takes all the favorite foods, which I think are all my favorite foods, pizza and tacos and all these things, and he makes them healthy. And so he was like, I want to lose weight, but I don't want to give up my favorite foods. And so he figured out a way to do this. He's documenting the journey on social media and just going viral. Like, it's so cool to see. So take us back. Like, what was the moment you decided I got to do something different when it comes to my health? And how did this all come up?
Definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, I was trying to get healthier for about a decade. And I tried everything, like everything that everyone tries. And honestly, for the most part, everything out there in the health world works if you work it. But there's only so much that like a human being can tolerate, and you have to like it and enjoy it. Like not everybody can be David Goggins and just kind of grind everything out and
Yeah.
make things work for you. So, trying Mediterranean and zero carb diets and all this stuff. And what it came down to is I would last 5 weeks, 4 weeks, it wasn't sustainable, and I would gain all the way back. So really for me, I think I got to like my heaviest weight, and I was in the Idaho Post Academy as like a deputy trainee for the sheriff's department here. And I was class president, and they brought me up to do my class president speech at graduation. And because of COVID, it was a Zoom video. And so my whole family was watching the Zoom. And just the angle of camera really exemplified my double chin to like the next level. It went, I thought I had 2, I guess I had 3 at that point. And that's not, no bad shaming, that's where I started, right? I had 3 chins. It's all good. And my brother, instead of congratulating me like the rest of my family, he screenshotted like the most terrible angles at the time I was speaking. And then like put those in the family group chat and was just like, hey man, congratulations on the win. You're doing so great as president. But I knew what he was doing. Like he would thank you for
Yeah.
and so
Classic brother move, man. Oh my
classic
goodness.
brother Drew.
Tear you down.
He shamed me a little bit, but I just like I was already kind of at my wit's end. I was like 280 pounds. Like I just was floppy in my uniform. And part of like in that culture, you want to look, fit and strong in the deputy culture. Otherwise, people just walk all over you. You look like a soft target. They'll treat you like a soft target. And so I just said, man, I'm going to put my foot down. So I went online, Googled that night, like how to lose weight for guys who hate chicken and rice. Like I think I Googled something like that.
Yeah.
And just populated just these different YouTube channels. One of them would be Remington James. Just shout out to this guy. He's got almost 1 million subs on YouTube. But he was making like double cheeseburgers, and he had a 6-pack. And I thought like, it's a gimmick. You can't have bread. Like I had all the old ways of thinking. You can't, there's no way. He's eating pizza. That's impossible. There's cheese. You can't have cheese. Like, just have these weird things that I subscribe to that most people do when it comes to health. But I decided to give it a shot and started copying some of his recipes, making like a double cheeseburger, bringing it to work. And my coworkers were like, oh, what kind of diet plan is this? Double cheeseburgers? Like, that's not going to work. I'm like, hey, just watch. And so I just subscribed to like, I want to eat a calorie deficit. I want to be high protein. I'm going to hit those deficit goals, that protein goal every day. I'm not going to worry about any other macros. So that's my focus, and making the food taste good. And I'm just going to grind this out. And I think it was like 6 months time, I lost like 60 pounds.
Wow. Awesome.
And felt a ton better. And guys that like worked opposite end of the week as me would see me and like stop and like look and go, you look like a completely different person. Like what the heck happened? And I would tell them, what I was doing and some of the recipes I made myself. And so a lot of coworkers were like, dude, you should like jot some of those recipes down for us. Cause they all want to lose weight too. Cause in like law enforcement culture, it's also very easy to gain weight, like just sitting around way too often. So that's kind of the beginning of the story for me. I was screwing around on TikTok for about a year during COVID, doing nothing related to food or fitness or anything like that. But I thought, you know what, just for fun, I'm going to throw up my body transformation of like what I look like 6 months ago
Okay.
to today. And it got a ton of response. I think it got like, maybe 50,000 views. And
Wow.
I was just shocked that many people viewed it. And then a lot of people in the comments just saying stuff like, man, I really want to try out your recipes. Like, how did you do it? Help me. I'm a dad in my 40s. Like,
Mm.
help, So I started just answering those questions. And then very quickly after that, I started making very terrible looking cooking videos, like the worst. I had a broken iPhone. I couldn't even I didn't want to even I couldn't afford the time to even get it fixed. Like it was just crap and not looking too good. But even those videos started to do well. And I think it was
Wow.
just like I was authentically just trying to help people, like and help people get to where I was. And then someone said, dude, you should take all your recipes and put it in a digital ebook. And I didn't even know that was a thing at the time. So I pretty much just went, long story short, went on Canva, put 10 recipes in an ebook, put a silly cover over the top of it, and monetized it for like $9.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think $9, and the rest is history.
Tell me about that first time you put it up there, because you had built this following on TikTok, just sharing your journey, and then the moment of truth, right? You ask people to vote with their wallet, and they're like, "Hey, do you really value this? Or are you just saying you're going to buy it?" Tell me
Yeah.
about that feeling, because I remember that feeling in our business when we put something out there in the world, people first bought it. What was that like? What was that first week? How much did it generate? And what was that feeling that you guys in your household were you freaking out? Were you like, "Is this real?" Like, how are you feeling?
Yeah, and I wasn't nervous at all because I literally thought like nothing of it. Like I didn't think it was gonna. I was like, dude, if it added like an extra $200 a month, it'd be so sweet. Like I'll get like YouTube TV or something. Like this will be awesome. So I think I might have mentioned it to my wife, like, hey, I'm gonna throw this up on the internet and see how it does. And I was sitting at work like the night that I launched it. It was an overnight shift at the county jail, and I had my phone next to me. I just started getting tons of alerts. And I
Wow.
think like that first night we launched it, it sold like $400 or $500 worth.
Wow.
So do the math, and I was just shocked. Like I was blown away. I'm like, wait, people are downloading this. I remember showing like my coworker, like I made more in the last like 2 hours than our entire week. Probably we're
Yeah.
like we're crushing.
Yeah.
So I was
Wow.
really stoked, and I showed my wife, and she's like, that's insane. Like that is so crazy. And then we tallied up for the week, and we did like maybe like almost 3 grand.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's when we started having like a real, like it happened really fast, like a real discussion about like maybe this could be a thing. Like if we could make 3 grand a week, like what would that be a month? Like if we
Yeah.
really focused in on this, and at the time I was telling you that super naive, only 20,000 followers on TikTok. That's like nothing today. That's like 100 Instagram followers. That's nothing. And, it's just not a ton of engagement. And so
Yeah.
to put it all on the line and quit my job was naive, but man, it really, really
What
worked out.
what was the timeline between okay, you made $3,000 a week and quitting your job? What was that like? How soon was that after?
Yeah, I think I quit like probably within like a month.
Oh, wow.
And I had to weigh it because
Oh
in
my
the state
god.
of Idaho, if you go through their academy, you have to work a full 2 years, or you have to like pay back the academy, right? It was like
Mm.
5 grand or something.
Yeah.
But like I just felt like I needed to bet on myself. Like
Yeah. Wow.
there's not going to be another chance, at 35 years old or 34 years old when I started this. I feel like I have other opportunities, that there was momentum behind me. The platform called Koji that I was running with, talked with their CEO. They believed in me. My wife prayed for me. She believed in me. And I even had a buddy that is an entrepreneur locally, and he
Yeah.
needed the work done. And he just guaranteed me, goes, hey, I can guarantee you $2,000 a month,
Wow.
and you focus on your ebook on the days that you're not working for me.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
just said, you know what? Like, I think it's worth taking the risk. So we
Yeah.
just dove in. So I think it was a month after that I put in my 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're when you because we're big believers in focus, right? It's like you only have so much nutrients in your time, right? Your
Yeah.
life. But if you put all those nutrients into one plant instead of like 1,000, you grow the big award-winning pumpkin, right? So
Yeah.
when you made that shift, now you're not working, you're putting all your time into social media, still probably a total beginner, right? At social media, and like, the reels are getting better slowly over time. But what did you see in the difference between your focus of your time? Did you see an immediate bump in the business, or was it a slow growth thing? Like, what was like that next month look like financially
Yeah.
compared to the first month?
Yeah. I think, I'm pretty sure we launched towards the end of that first month. So 3,000 is what we made that month. And then that following month is when I quit somewhere in there. But I was also already, even though I was working full time, I was already boosting my time to like maybe 20 hours a week on my days off, like
Yeah.
focusing on this. So I started making a cooking video like 5 days a week,
Wow.
Wow.
every single day getting up. I was filming it while holding the phone, and they were kind of quick edited videos. Like there wasn't a lot into them. I was using my voice in real time, starting to have to go back and narrate. So
Okay.
I could
Yeah.
pump out the content like crazy. So I was like, I'm going to be a content machine. I don't care about zooming out and thinking what's going to be best or go viral. I'm like, people just need to see me every single day. So I'm just going to like post as much as possible. And there's all these gurus saying you got to post every day, 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I just like worked myself to the bone initially. And then I think that following month, we grew like 4 times
Wow.
that the amount. And then it was like, okay, this is paying off. And then within like maybe 3 months, 4 months of working with a buddy of mine, we were going to launch like a fry business where you like loaded fries or like chicken and, steak and kind of like Chipotle, but for fries.
Mhm.
And I had to back out of that, and back out of some other stuff we were going to do together because I just knew that like this needed to have my sole focus.
Mhm.
And so moving forward, I think, it wasn't too long later, like maybe within 5, 6, 7, 8 months, that in 1 month I made my year's salary at
Wow.
the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
And that's when it was like, okay, this is a game changer. Like this is crazy.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I love this idea, like, because we've been talking about this for a while in Rainmakers is, digital products is a great opportunity, especially for the conversions between physical product sellers to add more revenue, right? By selling a digital product that goes along with the physical product, right? Like, here's a
Mhm.
course on how to use this thing, or here's, a way to optimize this thing. Also, vice versa, we've seen this where people, we had Andrea on the show who um, she sells tiny underwear and tiny potties, like for like, because she wrote an ebook training parents how to potty train their kids from birth. So like they would potty train their kids like by they're 6 months old, and
Mhm.
then they'd have a problem because they don't need diapers anymore. They need tiny underwear and tiny potties. And so she sells the ebook to generate the list, and then she has this raving fam list, and now she sells the physical products too. So I see like the convergence of these
Yeah.
things working together, and we see that in our own business. And so I don't know, what would you say to encourage maybe a rainmaker who's listening to the show who's like, oh, I don't have anything to sell. Like, I don't have any info, knowledge. I mean, it didn't sound like you were super confident about the recipes. You just threw it up there and you had to test it. But what would you say to someone who's like,
Mhm.
I don't know, I don't know what to sell. Like, I don't know what to create.
Yeah, I would just say, do something that you really love, not in a cliche way, but something that you're passionate about, something you're passionate about filming, on a daily basis, whatever that looks like. I love, traveling in my RV with my family on the weekend. Okay, cool. Like that can actually be monetized with a digital ebook. You could
Mhm.
do, 10 easy steps on how to travel in the RV with your family. Like, here's
Mhm.
what you need to know before you're going to travel. And you can make it like a $2 ebook. That's like a step-by-step guide on how to get started. Anything from how to deal with black water to,
Sure.
gray water, whatever they call it. You could teach on that stuff and make your content all around having an RV. And then it's honestly, it's a click funnel. When people watch your content, they go, okay, well, I see the content. I believe in it. I like it. I enjoy it. How can I engage with that content more?
Mhm.
How can I be more involved with that content? And so I would say if you are going to launch a product, physical is great. It's challenging. It's rewarding. But if it's your first product ever, why not launch something that's digital that has no fixed overhead costs? People can download ebooks all day, every day, and it's costing me nothing. You're just paying the platform maybe 1 to 2%. And some of these platforms, you could pay them $100 a month, and you can just over and over and over again. The downloads are coming in all day, every day, and you're not having to deal with shipping and none of those headaches. So just figure out like what your niche is, what kind of content you're going to produce, and then think about, hey, well, what kind of PDF can I place with that? What's something I can make within 10 minutes on Canva and sell? Like I'm actually thinking in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to do a fast food favorites for when people are traveling, and do a PDF. I'm going to give it away for free. I'm going to make it like the top 20, restaurant low calorie, high protein meals. And then that's going to add to like my email list. So even if you're selling a physical product, think about something you can give away for free that's going to add to your email list too, that you necessarily don't need to make money off of, but it can feed more into like the product that you're selling and monetizing.
Yeah.
Kyle, I would love to know, because now like you have all this knowledge, you've been doing this for a while, but when you first got into it, did you ever see or think of yourself as an entrepreneur? Because you seem like you just, I mean, you quit your job. You made $3,000 and the month later you quit your job. Like that is, some people would see that as huge risk, And so what do you think gave you the faith? Do you think that you're just a natural risk taker? Like, were you entrepreneurial, maybe had other businesses? Like what made you be like, yeah, I'm doing this?
Right. I love that question. Let this encourage anybody out there who is not a natural risk taker, because I am not. I am always, like I'm going to, quit my job a year from now. Let's prepare and save. Like I'm very calculated with those decisions. Even with joining Rainmaker, like I talked to like 6 friends before I signed up for Rainmakers. Like I prayed about it. Like I'm very slow to make choices. And so it was like the one time in my life where I said, you know what, like there's no reward without great risk. For once in my life, I'm going to take a real risk and go for it. My brother is a country musician and does really well. He took like three to four big risks through his life where he had like $20 and would just move to a different state because he had an opportunity with the band, just drop everything. And he has that natural risk, that risk taker inside of him that I don't have. And so I would just say, like, if you feel passionate about something, try it for once in your life. Like if you're a worrywart like me, like just push past that for once in your life and just go for it. And you can always fall back on your plan B if it doesn't work out in the end. But I just knew that if I went through life, I would regret not trying. And so yeah, there's nothing special about me in regards to like I'm a risk taker, entrepreneur. I'm just a normal guy. Never ran a business. I was a youth pastor for 5 years. I did manage a buckle clothing company in the Bay Area for a little while, but as far as being an entrepreneur, I've always had a boss telling me what to do. And I think going through Rainmakers and listening to all of your guys' podcasts, reading like a book called like the 5-Hour Work Week, there's a few things that really encouraged me. And even though like I didn't kill it with Rainmakers, we didn't make $1 million, but we still made back everything that we put into the company, and when we sold it, we made a little bit of a profit as well. It got my mind thinking that there's other ways to live my life. And, there's other ways to make money. And I do remember probably one of the biggest encouraging moments for me to quit my job. I was sitting overnight shift at the county jail with another deputy, and the guy was about 60 years old, and I could tell he's grumpy. Doesn't enjoy his life that much. Divorced, body's not doing too well. And I remember him going, "Oh, I'm so excited! Just 8 more years, and I can retire." And I went, "Oh, awesome! He'll be about 68." And man, hats off to you. You worked a really difficult job, like man, honor law enforcement, But I just thought to myself, I said, "Hey, well, how much, do you get at the end of your retirement? Like, what do you get?" He's like, "Oh, my pension's like $3,600 a month or something like that." And he's like, "And now I'm going to live my life." And that was, it just struck fear into me. I went, "Oh my gosh, like this is the direction I'm going. Like I'm already overweight. I'm already not really happy with this job. And I'm going to work my whole life to maybe at 65, I get 10 decent years of doing what I want to do." No, like you only get to live one time. And so, I'm going to do what I think God's called me to do, and I'm going to be free, and I'm going to provide better for my family. and we're going to homeschool our kids, and we're going to live a completely different life.
That's amazing.
And prayed about it, believed in it, and then I just haven't looked back. I just put my hand in the ground going for the last 3 years, and my family has never been happier, and same with myself. So
that's amazing, Kyle. I love that. I'm just going all in.
yeah.
I would like to transition a little bit in talking about social media, because I think you have, so many followers on different platforms, and you started out in just like posting a lot. And I think I hear this often from our Rainmaker students, or just from content creators, anybody who's on social media. We come from the wedding world. I was just looking at a wedding thread from something I do from time to time, and they were talking about like social media and their posts getting seen. And I just would love for you to talk to like the mom who maybe already has a product or some ideas and is like nervous about social media and growing, because there's so many advices, there's so many things that you can take. But I would just love to hear, like, what do you think contributed to like the really fast, incredible growth that you have had in your account? We get asked all the time, what are your favorite books? So we put together a quick free download of the top 15 most influential books that helped us grow a 7-figure business by age 30.
The cool part about this list is they're actually sequential, from the ones we read at the very beginning to the ones that are impacting our lives right now. With the list, we also have the hookup for audible.com, where you can listen to the books on a walk or while doing the dishes. This is my favorite way to consume books. If you want the list, go to rainmakerfamily.com/deals. We also have a link to Audible there, so you can listen to the books on the go. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/deals.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing is just being authentic and genuine to what you're passionate about. Like if you're genuine and you're not just trying to post stuff to make money, but you're posting stuff to genuinely help someone else, give something away, give a part of yourself away to the audience, I think people can resonate with that and feel that. Or I think the reality is a lot of people go into the social media thing already with the mindset of like, I want to monetize this, I want to make money right away. And people recognize that, right? Whereas a lot of these different influencers grow really quickly when you don't feel like they're just trying to sell you something constantly. So I would say, make sure you're giving them education, you're giving them something that they want at first. And then if you're trying to, grow your Instagram, obviously Reels has taken off like crazy within the last year. Focus a large majority of your time on making Reels. I would say at first, stay under like the 20-second, or less. And the big thing is just, for me, I feel like making sure those first 4 seconds, like they just matter so much. I know, Stephen, you make those short podcasts, those first like 5-6 words, whatever you put across the screen, that's what's going to grab the audience and keep them around. And every 3 seconds, there should be something done or shown that's pulling that person in to want to stick around and see what's next. So put out 3 to 4 reels, I would say weekly, when you're first starting, and really ask yourself, is it good content? Is it content that I would want to watch? Show your spouse, show your friends before you put it out there, and tighten it up. Make sure it's something that's entertaining as well, has some entertainment value.
Yeah. I'm sure looking back, you can look at those first reels and cringe a little bit, like, wow, like I've grown so much. Do you still and as your business has probably matured, what's your systems like now? Are you still doing all the editing yourself? Or do you have a team? I know you're hustling, doing reels every single day. Are you still doing that? Are you batching? Tell us how it's matured over time.
For sure. So probably in the first year or two, it felt like every day I was making a reel. I was cooking in the kitchen, making my wife angry. The kitchen was always messy, always a problem.
Yeah.
Always editing. It was very sloppy. I didn't have a calendar. I just felt like I needed to run.
Yeah.
And run as hard as I could. And then after the second year, I felt like I needed to zoom out and start asking, other people kind of in my same category, what do you do? What are your systems? I don't come from the business world. I don't come from social media world. How are you? Do you have a calendar? Do you put up recipes on the calendar and you have 12 for the month and you just work your way through? I'm like, what do you do? And I started gleaning from some of the major top people in the industry. Cool. And what I found to work for me is between 2 or 3 recipes a week, 2 or 3 videos a week, and really zooming out and focusing on the quality rather than the quantity really makes it made a massive difference for me. Like I would go into, my week, the first of the month on a Sunday night, and I'd write all the recipe ideas that I had for that month. Granted, I also keep a Google Drive. Anytime a recipe comes to my mind or I see something that I would like to do a dupe of in the fast food world, I'll just write down the idea, what ingredients I would change it to, and I keep it on a Google Drive. And so the first of the month, I just look at that drive and go, okay, wow, I wrote down like 26 ideas from last month. And I just slowly narrow those down to like 10. And then I go, of those 10, like which ones are really going to pop? Like which ones do I feel are going to go the most viral? And then I'll even do some research and I'll search those videos on Instagram, see if someone's already made something similar. Okay, they did. And you know what? It did okay. Maybe it got 200,000 views and 6,000 likes. Here's 3 things I would change about that video to get a million views and, 30,000 likes. The hook wasn't strong. They should have made more sauce on that burger. They should have did like 3 different angles. What they talked about at the beginning should have been stronger. And so I'll just write all that stuff down and focus on those 2 or 3 recipes. And for the most part now, I feel like if I don't get a video that goes over 1 million views on Instagram, like there's something that I did wrong, and I can go back and take notes and go, okay, you know what? That burger didn't look super juicy. There was no cheese pull. I was just tired that day and I wanted to push content out. That's a problem. I should have had a better hook in the beginning. And some of the things that you can look at with analytics too is like, if I put out a 50-second video, I know it's going to go absolutely viral within the first, I would say 10 minutes. I can look and see what's the average like watch time.
Okay.
And so if it's above 15 seconds, like that thing's going to be a home run. If I see like 9 seconds, I'm like, I screwed up massively. Like something went wrong within those 9 seconds. So I'll take all the notes of all the mistakes I made within those 9 seconds. So, and then correct it on the next video. And sorry, I did like a fry video last week that hit 7 million views and on Instagram. And then I took notes on what went well with that one. And just like, I changed up the way I said stuff, like sometimes things that you say at the beginning of your video, if you're really consistent with that same, sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. Like sometimes for like 6 videos, people like that you're on a journey, you're on a series with them. But then sometimes it gets old and it gets stale. And so I felt like my videos are starting to get stale. I was starting off with the word unfortunately, and I was comparing these different foods. And so I took that out of my vocabulary and changed it to something else that was more interesting. And then that video popped to 7 million. So, and then I'm going to stay on that vein for a while. So, and I would also say, just kind of came up in my head, film in series. Like don't just do, if you're going to do recipe videos specifically, don't just do recipe videos and have them be random. Like, of course, let's say you're in a Mediterranean dish niche or you like to do Greek food, like that's all good. But within that, what is a series you could do that would hyper focus you on the content, but also like the people that follow you? And so I did fast food aisle favorites, and I did 12 recipes so far. Pull something from the fast food aisle that everybody loves and make it high protein and low calorie. And then simultaneously, what's great is that's me working on my next digital ebook that I'm going to launch. Cool. So the work kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so fun to see. You whenever I think I started following you when we started connecting more, and now it's just in my feed, like here's the hot pockets, or here's the, like, it's just like, it's so fun to see. And it's fun to hear the behind the scenes of how you are using the data. Cause we're big, like we do this in all our businesses, Amazon, Rainmakers, on social media as well. Like look at the data. I love how you're doing that. You're not just guessing anymore, right? You're just like, I'm going to look at the data. I'm going to let the data inform my decisions. I'm going to look at existing data in the marketplace. They're looking at other people and what's working for them and make it better. Like you're just working smarter and, not harder, which I love.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love that too, as you said, like that first year, you were almost, I don't love the word hustle, but like you were like every day putting something out and you were putting content out there and you were seeing it grow. And then the next year was when you're like, all right, now how do I like keep this growth continuing and really like analyzing? So I think sometimes too, people are afraid to just get started. And it's like, well, you have to start somewhere, and you do need, in order to get data, you need to be doing something for a certain amount of time. Sometimes it's faster or
Yeah.
slower, but you had that data to go off of. And I think that's really important too with social media. What is resonating? What kind of posts do well? And
Mhm.
then catering to what your audience needs. So I think that's really
Yeah.
smart and amazing.
We're growing our Rainmaker social media, really leaning into that, and then we're starting to try to grow more of our personal brand lately.
Yeah.
And so we're deep into like social media concepts and analytics and all this stuff. I'm curious with you, do you ever try to, or do you ever repurpose old content? Because like you have, a million something followers on Instagram, but like 500,000 people didn't know about you,
Mhm.
45 days ago, right? Do you ever
Yeah.
pull some old stuff that performs and remix it or reuse it just to kind of save time and make it more passive, so to say?
For sure. I definitely, every month I'll probably pull one rerun video,
Okay.
from the past. And I make a couple little changes to them. Maybe I start off, in the beginning, I say something different than the first one and just kind of re-record my voice.
Okay.
Or, I take footage from the first video. I keep it all saved in a file and I go, okay, like I held the burger up this way, but in another video, I brought it across the screen this way. And I
Mhm.
start off with that. So it have the different look to it. So even
Okay.
somebody who watched it 6 months ago will totally think it's like a new recipe. But I always try to be honest too. So like within the caption, I'll say, had to run this one back. It's one of my favorite,
Nice.
tacos or
Yeah.
whatever. And they tend to do really, really well still. If they perform well then, they'll perform well now. I haven't had one ever outperform the first time, but I've had them come very, very close.
Wow.
And
Mhm.
then, because I make, so much content, I have so much content in my files. I like to like every 5 to 6 videos do something I call like a sizzle reel.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's basically just your highlight videos, highlight recipes of the last like 2 months, and cut them up. Have some words that kind of go along with what's happening, describing it to them, and start off with a hook like, I want to lose weight, but I love fast food, something like that. And then it's
Yeah.
like 90% of the world likes that statement. They go, okay, yeah, well, show
Yeah.
me your fast food that's healthy.
Yeah.
Dang, that looks really, really good. And those videos are like, 12, 15 seconds. So the other morning, it was on Mother's Day, actually. I have a certain standard for what I want to hit daily on sales. And I don't use any marketing. Everything's organic right now. I
Yeah.
don't pay for anything. And so sales were kind of like, it's just, I'm hitting my goal, but I really wanted like a pick me up. So it was time to make a sizzle reel. So I laid in bed for an extra hour. My wife was like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get a little work in. Went and found like my top 9 videos, went on Chat GPT, use a
Yeah.
little AI, gave them like my best sizzle reel like statement of like, fat, I want to lose weight, but hate boring food. Give
Yeah.
me 13 other ideas that are similar but better. And I just narrowed it down. And then within an hour, had it cut, new music on there, trending music, posted it. And by the end of that night, it got 1 million views. Like it took off
Wow.
like crazy. And
Yeah.
then it's at 3.5 million views. And, we probably sold, 7, 8 grand worth of like ebook downloads in 2 days
Yeah.
from that one video.
Wow.
So what I love about it is like anytime like I feel like the business is fluctuating,
Mhm.
like you're one viral video away or one very solid video away from being right back on top and
Yeah.
moving forward. Like even when you feel like there's days where I'm like, I don't know, like maybe am I going to drop off the map? Hey, just put your big boy pants on or big girl pants on, go edit a video and go
Yeah.
put something out there that's rewarding and we're going to like, and just watch things take off.
Yeah. Man,
That's
the
so
power of a brand, like it's just,
Mhm.
we've said it many times on this podcast. There's nothing like having that, of course, there's still a little bit that we don't control. Instagram could shut you down, but it's okay. We can get our accounts back. We know how to do this type of thing, but you're building that email list even, which is just, it's more bulletproofing the business where like, it's just amazing to be like, hey, revenue's down. Let me just pull a quick lever
Mhm.
and generate revenue. Like there's nothing like that. And so just encouragement to rainmakers that are hesitant to put your face out there on the internet or to build a brand around what you're doing. Like it's so worth it to have this asset of influence, right? Of
Mhm.
email lists, of social media following, because you're not at the whim of how PPC is feeling that day on your advertising, right? It's just like you can push a post out and generate revenue. And I think like it's so encouraging to hear. I would just have a curious question. Have you seen, just for the other influencers out there, people building audience, have you seen like a correlation between views and revenue driven to like an ebook? Like, is there like, oh, it's like kind of like this percent. Like if I have this many views on a reel, it's probably going to drive this many things, or maybe it's followers to revenue or anything like that, where you're like, this is kind of, I kind of know, if I drive this many views, it's going to turn into this much revenue.
Yeah,
Or
it's a little bit, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a little bit hard to gauge, because I think like when you get in the weeds of it, it's like, okay, your video killed it. It's really good. It went viral. You have an ebook, you have something that you're selling. I think what matters within that is like, how solid was your call to action? Because I've had videos sometimes do really, really well, and then it doesn't really equal like a huge increase in sales.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I went back and looked at it. Okay, well, I put something kind of 6 lines down for a call to action. And by that time, 30% of the people read it, or 10%. I missed it. Or I could have had some kind of a creative call to action within that video, and that would have killed it. And so I've had sometimes where I did a video like a couple weeks ago that got 400,000 views, and it was average, but I had a really strong call to action.
Okay.
And it felt like I had a 10 million view video that day.
Wow.
So sometimes like get in the weeds of like the specifics of where you're driving your traffic within that video is just as important as how big it gets, or how many people it's reaching. So that's something that I've been thinking about too, and adding to like every cooking video. Is it going to go viral? And my second question is, does it send them to my website? Does it send them to my ebook? And am I doing it in a way that's subtle and doesn't feel salesy? Like I always, or if I am being salesy, am I being funny about it? Like, forget I have an ebook. I just, just if you want to make me not poor, help me, just figuring out ways to throw it in there.
Yeah.
But I would say for me, if I get, about 2,000 people that come to my website, it typically generates about $2,000 worth of sales.
Okay. Yeah.
So I probably have like a 6% conversion rate right now. So out of 2,000 people, what is that? About 140 people are going to actually put it in their cart and purchase it.
Cool. That's all. Yeah, it's super fun to hear. I love the behind the scenes of the influencer game, because I think it's like, I think people put these influencers on pedestals, and it's like feels unreachable, but you're just such a down to earth guy who was in a normal job during COVID, like just doing his thing, and you're making it very real and attainable for people to hear and see. And it's not like it didn't come with just sitting on the couch and doing nothing. Like you definitely hustled for this, but it's so cool to see how it's really bought your family freedom, bought your family, a life that you couldn't have lived, being at this other job. And ultimately, I think the cool part is the freedom it's bringing other people, like, I think when you're doing something you love and it's helping people, like, it's like it's easy to get up and wake up and do it again. Right. Because you're like, I know someone who's going to discover this today, and they're going to have a story like mine.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. It's crazy. We just finished a 2-month challenge, weight loss challenge. This one guy lost 38 pounds.
Wow.
And so the top, Victor was going to get a $250 just Visa gift card. And so I DM'd the guy, and I realized he lives in Eagle, Idaho. I live in like the Boise area. So he lives 25 minutes from me. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, man, could I deliver it to you in person? Like we have some coffee. And the guy turned out to be awesome. We're like buddies now.
So cool.
And he looks great, looks fantastic. And he's on to like the next challenge, with me. And so it's cool. It was cool. Like that was the first time that I like went in person and saw like, I don't know if you want to call it like a fan, but someone that really like likes my content, that follows me and has the ebook, and like a full on tasty shredder guy, and seeing like how it like affected his life is just, it's amazing. It's really rewarding.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Kyle, sharing your journey. I really hope I know it will inspire our listeners with just start with where you're at and just continue to build and see what happens. And if any of our listeners want to see more of your amazing content, maybe follow and try some of your recipes, where should they go?
Yeah, just Instagram usually has all my videos. I post there first. It's my top header. So just search Tasty Shreds. If you want to go to my website, it's just tastyshredsrecipes.com.
Awesome.
And follow along. And if you're out there and you're trying to start a business, just do it. Give it a shot. Put yourself in front of the camera. I had a broken iPhone 3 years ago, and now I no longer have a broken iPhone. I still film with the same stuff I had before, better lighting. But you can do it.
Yeah.
Man, thanks so much, Kyle. If you are listening to the show and it resonated with you, or you have a friend who's, man, you got to put something out there in the world, a digital product, share this episode with them. It could be the breakthrough that they need. Take action on this, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Rainmaker Family Show.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. If you're not a part of our mastermind yet, I want to say I think you're missing out. Our heart here at Rainmaker is to create total abundance for you. That's why we're offering a free one-on-one family freedom design session for you, our faithful listener.
Yeah, if you want to hop on a call with our team, see if it's a good fit to build a business that creates time freedom for you, financial abundance, and helps you leave that thriving family legacy. That's what we're all about in our mastermind. You can grab a time on our team's calendar at rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind.